It's alive! It's alive!
Otherworldlyculture.com presents Dead On Movie Reviews.
Salutations and mutilations, you're listening to Otherworldly Culture presents Dead On Movie Reviews. Tonight, we will present horror, movie reviews, and lively debate here on Otherworldlyculture.com and future select Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern. You can join our live chat at that time by clicking on the live shows link at Otherworldlyculture.com at our website, and also on Twitch at twitch.tv/otherworldlyculture. I'm your host, Tim Kretschmann, and we're joining you from the land of lakes and landfills, beautiful and smelly Muskego, Wisconsin. It's my honor to introduce to you tonight the Faculty of Fear that will be our panel presenting tonight's lectures. And there everybody is. I'm off screen. That happens from time to time. There we go. That's good. All right. Let's start with Adam Holtzoffel. He's our hardcore Otherworldly Culture columnist. And he won't brag, but he is, in fact, the Taco King. Adam will slice and dice twice his film feast and menu of madness for us on tonight's celluloid entry to cellulite. Hello, Adam.
Hey, Tom, how's it going?
Fantastic. So glad you could join us between reviews that you've been posting like a little madman out there on Otherworldly Culture. We'll talk more about that as the show progresses. We have a great introduction to everybody tonight. It's his debut here on Dead On Movie Reviews. And as you know, that's usually the only appearance we get because these guys get scared to come out a second time. So we have to do a big opening. So we have Michael Cieslak is with us today. He's a lifetime reader and writer of horror, mystery, and speculative fiction. He's a native of Detroit and still lives within 500 yards of the city with his wife and their two dogs, Tesla and Titus. The house is covered in Halloween decorations in October and dragons the rest of the year. He has served as an officer in the Great Lakes Association of Horror Writers. He's the editor of Erie Tales anthologies. His works have appeared in a number of collections, including DOA Extreme Horror, Dead Science, Vicious Verses and Reanimated Rhymes, the Great Lakes... Okay, GLA, I had it before. Great Lakes Association of Horror Writers Anthologies, Alter Egos, Volume 1, Pan's Guide for New Pioneers, a supplement for the Pugmire RPG, and the collaborative steampunk novel Army of Brass. Urbane Decay, a collection of Michael's short fiction, was released in 2018 by SourcePoint Press. He has served as the literature track head for, and you're going to have to help me, Penguicon? Penguicon. Michael is the editor-in-chief of Dragon's Roost Press, and you're going to hear Dragon's Roost just a few more times here. Michael's mental excreta, including his personal blog, They Napalmed My Shrubbery This Morning, can be found online at the word "the" is in there. All of this is all one word, thedragonsroost.net. And Dragon's Roost Press itself is the fever dream brainchild of dark speculative fiction author Michael Cieslak. Since 2014, their goal has been to find the best speculative fiction authors and share their work with the public. For more information about Dragon's Roost Press and their publications, please visit the Dragon's Roost, this time, .biz. The Dragon's Roost .biz, and remember, it's dragons with an S on there. because I made that mistake. Hello, Michael. Welcome to the show.
Hello. I think we used up all the time there on my intro, so I'll see you guys next time around.
Don't worry about that, because if you look below me right now, our other Mike that was scheduled to be on, he is not feeling well this evening, so he is not going to be on the show. So I had to fill some time, and when I got that intro, I thought, I know exactly what I'm going to do. But we all
well, it was very good for my ego. Thank you very much.
Actually, going through your website, that is a very interesting website, as is the Great Lakes Writers Association. I got that all mixed up again. Association of Horror Writers. That's what it is. Great Lakes Association of Horror Writers. There's some great stuff out there, and people should absolutely check it out. I know Peggy, who has been on this show now twice, she is also part of that Great Lakes Association of Horror Writers. So we're awful glad to have you on here. And with no further ado, Adam, are you ready over there?
Yeah, I'm good to go,
Okay,
Tim.
I just wanted to check you were still awake over there. All right, here we go. Adam, what have you been watching?
So I attempted to watch The Dark and the Wicked, a Shudder exclusive. It's directed by Brian Bertino, who did The Strangers, which I know I'll catch a lot of flack for this, but I'm not a fan of that film by any means.
Now, did he do the first one or that sequel?
He did the first one. I believe he produced the sequel.
Okay.
This clocked in at 95 minutes. I made it a whopping 30 minutes through.
Wow.
And, yeah. So,
oh, okay.
Yeah. Basically, the story centers around the patriarch of a family who's dying.
Okay.
His children come to visit and be by his side during his final days. We see the mother, the family's kind of, I told you guys not to come. You don't need to be here. It takes about 20 minutes for anything to happen.
Mm-hmm.
By that time, we see doors opening on their own and a shadow person in the hallway. The mom chops
hold
off.
on. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Hey, don't give away all the secrets in a movie.
Oh, I'm not.
Adam, don't
He's
do
not
it.
giving away the end.
Okay. Well, it kind of sounded like he was giving away all the good action. So.
No, well, I mean, about as much action as I saw. Like, the coolest thing was the mom chops her fingers off, but I'm pretty sure that's insignificant in the whole plot of the movie, if there was one. But I don't know, like, the premise sounded good. I like a good slow burn, but if you're not going anywhere in the first 10 to 15 minutes, even a hint at going somewhere, it just kind of loses me. I think I probably would have rather watched Midsummer again.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Ouch.
I take it you were not a fan?
I wanted to like it. Like, the acting was good from what I saw. It just seemed to crawl along. Like, just any action that was there did nothing to move the story along.
But it was so pretty to look at, though.
Yeah, I'll give it that. Like, pretty is a good thing, but if the story's not there, you may as well watch paint dry.
See, I couldn't watch it because at the very beginning of that movie, I saw the letter A followed by 24, and I was out at that point.
Yeah, and see, with it being on Shudder, it wasn't A24. It's RLJE.
They're all over the place. I think. That's the one I'm thinking, or am I thinking RLG? I might be thinking RLG.
I think you're thinking RLJE, because, yeah, I don't think this was licensed A24.
All right. Well, it sounds like you don't have much to say on this one. You only made it 30 minutes as a grading time?
Yeah, it is. Like, I had
Holy
high
cow.
hopes for it and just kind of let down.
You
so.
did hear me at the beginning of the show that I had to stretch, right?
Well,
And then
that's
you did
why
this to me?
That's why I'm hoping
All right.
your review of the phenomenal Shockwaves does. So.
Okay, well, I'll put in your grade there. I'm sure I figured it out. No?
Yeah, give it an A for effort. I'd give it a D. Like, maybe I'll try watching it again down the road, but...
So, wait a minute. You're giving a D to a movie you couldn't make in 30 minutes?
Well,
what does it take for an F? What does it take for an F from you?
I mean, it takes a lot to get an F from me. Like, this is
I would say this fits it. You made it 30 minutes, Adam. 30 minutes.
I did. I mean, Hereditary would get an F from me because I made it 15 through that. So this gets a D because I lasted longer than I did through Hereditary.
Oh, my God. Oh, okay. All right.
This had some good merits. Like, it did look good. It had a good premise. It just...
Where were you when I was in college? I could have used this. I could have used a D once in a while for only making it 30 minutes. Shit. I think you're being generous, Adam, but it is your grade. So, all right. We'll let it go.
Because this will find an audience. That audience just isn't me. So,
Okay.
like
this is your grade. You don't have to make anybody else happy. Are you sure you want to go with D?
I am, because if I was trying to make other people happy, I'd get a higher grade than that.
All right. Hey, by the way, everybody, we have a pretty busy chat room tonight. I want to thank, let's see, we have Peggy is in there. And we have...
Hey, she's awake!
Elsnor Rapido is in there. So we've got a couple people running around in the chat room. We want to welcome them all, and thanks for coming out. Adam, thanks for the review of the first 30 minutes of your film.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah. I want to remind everybody, on Thursday, we're actually going to have the first Dead on the Bases for Season 2. We're going to be previewing the next season, and we'll be letting you know what all the movies that we're going to be doing in Season 2, Dead on the Bases, Thursday night. Okay. I am doing every stretching technique I have right now, just so you know. All right, so Michael, you're going to have a good review because I know this movie. This is going to be an interesting take, I'm sure. Michael Cieslak, everybody, what have you been watching?
I'm going to talk very slow.
No, you are not. No, you are not.
Well,
no,
I
sir. I
rewatched.
have to listen to that from the East Coasters when they call me, and I'm in the Midwest. They're like, you guys all talk so slow. I'm like, really? You want to race? I'll start quoting His Girl Friday to you. We'll see how we do. All right. Michael, you told us just before going on the air you were going to do this entire review in Spanish. So I'm really looking forward to this.
I believe you misheard that,
Oh,
but
okay.
It could be because I was speaking Spanish.
Oh, okay.
I rewatched The Orphanage, and in my notes I have that it received a 10-minute standing ovation at the Cannes Film Festival when it was released.
Really?
And I just think it's funny that the standing ovation is 1/3 of the length of how far Adam got in through his movie. And I can't stop laughing at that now.
Wow.
When a movie starts with Guillermo del Toro presents, you pretty much know you're going to be in good hands. But I feel like I should point out this is not directed by del Toro. It was produced by him.
Thank you, because so many people, when I talk about this movie, and I haven't talked a lot about it since 2008. It was really hot that year. Mm-hmm. So many people told me, "Oh, the guy that made Hellboy made it," and I'm like, "No, are you reading? It says presents."
He did make other movies before Hellboy. This just wasn't one of them.
Right.
But then again, I'm the guy that always does the whole, no. The creature was Frankenstein's monster, but the real monster was Frankenstein.
You're one of those. Okay.
I'm one of those.
Hold on. I'm putting that in the notes.
I'm just like waiting for the graphic that was going to show up right there.
Okay, true story. My brother will rip into every version of Frankenstein because he loved the book, except for which movie would a huge fan of the book like, and it's not what you think. It would be the Randy Quaid TV movie one. He thinks
I did not know there was such a version.
He will go backwards and forwards over this with me. He is such a huge fan, and I'm like, that's barely a movie. And he's like, it's the truest of the book. And he hates the De Niro version. I mean, anyway,
justly so. I'm writing down Randy Quaid Frankenstein because my interest is quite deep about this. It was a TV movie.
If my memory serves, Patrick Bergen played Dr. Frankenstein, and I think it was like one of those 2 hours over 2 nights type of fairs. But I think when you take out the commercials, it's like 3 hours or something. But it was either TNT or it was definitely somebody Turner related.
Okay.
And it was probably back when Ted Turner was still calling all the shots. But yeah, it exists.
It's got to be out there online somewhere.
I would have definitely got Dennis Quaid to play the doctor if I was there. And then I would have had him run off to Canada. I would have Frankenstein run off to Canada. That'd be the key thing. It made taxes. Okay. We're talking about the Orphanage. I don't know how we got there, but there we are. We're back at the Orphanage. 2008.
I think you got your Quaids mixed up. Randy is the one that ran to Canada.
Yeah, he did. Frankenstein ran off to Canada. Yeah. He played Frankenstein in the movie. I was just kidding about Dennis Quaid. He did not play. I am absolutely sure I'm right about this. Randy Quaid, Frankenstein. Because I hear it every freaking time out of him.
You better be right, otherwise he's going to nail you.
Yeah, Randy Quaid and Patrick Bergen. 1992 television horror movie. It was TNT. But I've never heard of this director, David Wicks. Who's ever heard of this guy? All right, we will figure this out.
And to make websites, if I'm not mistaken.
Aha. All right, The Orphanage was the movie that at the beginning of this conversation, we started talking about Orphanage and then we started going off. So let's get back to The Orphanage with the creepiest little kid mask ever.
Yeah. It's a minimalist mask. You always have things when, and there he is right there. Yeah. Oh, isn't he cute? But the creepiness starts right with the opening credits, and I think you had the clip of that right there, the wallpaper being torn away, revealing the credits. That's the entire opening credit sequence, and I don't know, I just love that. I actually watched it twice when I was watching it again.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. it's just weird.
Okay, I get it.
So the movie starts out in flashback at the titular orphanage. Some kids are playing a real creepy version of red light, green light. And then we kind of start in, as a lot of haunted house movies do, with a young couple moving into the house that's going to be haunted. You've got a lot of the haunted house tropes that are going to come up, but I think this movie does a good job with them. Excuse me. In this case, the new house that they're moving into is the orphanage where Laura, and I'm just going to butcher these names, I'm sure, played by Belen Rueda.
Okay.
She grew up in this orphanage before she was adopted, and she and her husband Carlos have decided they're going to try to refurbish this building and turn it into a place for special needs children.
Okay.
Their son, Simon, meets some imaginary friends, which is something that we've seen a lot. If you go through the Paranormal Activity movies, popped into my head with the imaginary friends. But this is offset by the fact that he had imaginary friends before he got to the house. Watson and Pepe are brought up a lot before he meets Tomas, who is our little bag-headed friend in the previews there.
Bag-headed.
Simon, who is the little boy, was played by Roger Princep, and did a really good job. And I'm gonna come out on international internet right now and say, not a big fan of movies with kids in them usually. Not really a big fan of kid actors, but this young lad did quite a good job. So Simon and Laura are exploring. Simon and his mom, Laura, are exploring the beach, and they go to this cave, and that's where he starts talking to what looks like thin air, tells his mom he's made a new friend, invites the new friend to come back home, and goes so far as to leave a trail of seashells so Tomas can follow them back. It's daylight, bright daylight, and yet this still seems really ominous. It's shot very well. A social worker shows up out of the blue, played by the recently departed Montserrat Carula, who looks really weird in this. They've done a really good job of, like, the moment you see her, you're like, there's something wrong with this lady. She's just creepy, and Laura picks up on it right away, too. Like, this, no bueno. There's your Spanish.
Hey! Bonus points.
From this discussion that Laura and the social worker have, we learn that Simon is adopted, and he does not know that, and that he's HIV positive, which is why they've been giving him these vitamins.
Okay.
That night, Laura hears the knocking, and your first thought is, okay, here goes the weird supernatural stuff, and you find out it's the social worker in the shed digging around. There's a lot of foreshadowing that goes on with Simon reading the book Peter Pan, talking about never growing old, and he asks about death. I don't want to go into spoilerish territory.
That's good, because I already played that one, so it's good that you say that.
I know I ran that whole movie.
you really blew it there, Adam. All
really
these people,
like
because he gave it such a rave review, everybody was going to go watch that, but you spoiled it, so that screwed it up. But I thank you, because I'm not sure a lot of people have seen this movie since it originally aired in the movie theaters, and I don't know why. I know I haven't re-seen this movie or re-reviewed. I don't know.
Rewatch.
I haven't rewatched it, and when you said this was your movie, I'm like, I think the reason I haven't rewatched it is I'm a huge fan of a different movie with a similar title called The Orphan.
Okay.
And that movie I also haven't rewatched, and I'm actually assigning it to myself in another show that we have here, so I can rewatch it. But somehow that movie erased a lot of this movie in my head.
I think that happened with a lot of people, and that's kind of what I wanted to watch it again, because I saw it when it first came out, and then I've seen it once since then. I'm like, it's probably been a good 7 or 8 years since I've seen this, and was it as much of a gut punch to the soul as I remember? Yeah, it is. Even knowing what's going to happen at the end, it was still just a sucker punch right in the heart.
And this movie kind of had its iconic character stolen for Trick or Treat. I mean, you look at Sam. Sam is this little kid to us. It's like a stylized version of it. So the creepiness, I think, got translated over from Spanish to anthology film. But yeah, I remember seeing this in the theaters, and I remember there was a young couple, which the guy was totally scamming on the chick, hoping she would grab onto him. And I think he was more frightened than the girl.
That's awesome.
They were not having a good time up there. I was having a great time watching them not have a good time. But I remember it being kind of a tense viewing.
It's got once Laura starts trying to figure out the backstory of the orphanage and what happened after she was adopted, which plays a big, I'd say maybe the last third of the movie. That's one of the major plot points. And you kind of start to wonder, is she really hearing ghosts? Is she just don't want to spoil that one part. Okay. Yeah. But is she hearing ghosts? Is she not? Is it grief? We're not sure. And I think that it's that whole mystery aspect that's thrown in along with the supernatural portion of it that really does ratchet up the tension. I think the cinematography and the sound effects were amazing, and I hadn't realized that. One that stood out to me is there's a scene where Laura is using a gas lantern, a propane lantern. And if anyone is old enough to have gone camping with an old Coleman lantern, you know that annoying hissing sound, and that is used to such good effect in one scene in particular that I was like, wow, I've got jot that note down too.
I love good sound design, and I frankly, if I can get a movie in 5.1 surround sound and it's only 480p, I'd rather watch that than 1280 with just regular stereo. I'm just really a snob about sound design, and I don't remember that about this movie. But again, I saw it in the theater. I'm trying to think if I saw it dubbed or if I saw it with subtitles. I don't remember, which is actually a good sign, because when I remember I saw something with subtitles, then it's because I was annoyed that I had to read it instead of enjoy the movie.
You were pulled out of it by the subtitles. You weren't able to immerse yourself in the film itself.
Well, I know the second time I saw The Seven Samurai, I was shocked that my copy of it was only subtitled. I'm like, I don't remember this. What the hell? Why did I agree to see this again? But wow, okay. Are you ready to give it a grade?
You know what? It's maybe not the scariest movie, but it's a solid entry into the haunting genre. On the note of subtitles, the version that I watched, which was available on Prime, is subtitled. Okay. I don't know if there's a dubbed version out there. And there was one issue that I had with it. The subtitles were in kind of a yellowish tinge. Yeah. And in some of the outdoor scenes, it just completely blended into the grass. So you couldn't really read the subtitles.
You know,
but
I don't understand in this day and age. Okay, everybody look at the shot I have up there right now. Notice how around Michael Cam, I have a little blue outline. So why don't they do that with all subtitles? Just put an outline around it, and then it's fixed. This problem is such a 1950s problem. It drives me nuts. I'm like, really? It's a button on your rendering. Just press. It's over there on the right. You know.
Well, they may not have had that button in 2008. Who knows?
Uh-oh. Hey, we got Smarty Pantses in the chat room. Hold on. Michael, I think I'm going to be answering for something, I think. Technically, Trick or Treat came out in 2007, a year before this movie. Also, Doherty wrote a little comic with Sam that the movie was based on, but not sure how much longer before the film came out. So what Peggy's saying is that I was right. I'm just kind of rewording that for her because she was having difficulty expressing herself like all you author types. So I think I'll just help her out on that. Okay, let's get to the grade book here.
Before the fact that she started with also technically.
Yeah, I could have read that in the Simpsons comic book fan guy voice, but I don't do that voice very well. So, all right, I am going to ask you, what are you grading The Orphanage from technically a 2008 film?
I'm going to give this one an A-. This is a solid spook fest as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, an A-, everybody. That is probably right about where I would have put it when I saw it first. Now, Adam, have you ever seen Orphanage?
I want to say I have, but it's been a while. It's definitely one I need to revisit.
I think this is one of those movies that it just people haven't revisited, and I don't know why, because it has this great everybody enjoys it, you know, that I've talked to. I haven't heard people that hate on this film. Oh, Peggy, it's on. Okay, I'm not getting into this right now with Peggy, but it's on. Just so you know. All right, I have a movie. Let's see what I watched. Okay, before I start, it's Shockwaves from 1977. Adam, I'm pretty sure you've seen this, right?
I own this, so I've seen it many times, yes.
Okay. And Michael, you've seen this?
I was reading the description of this, and I am almost certain that I have seen this on more than one occasion.
I'm going to kind of bottom line this. 1977 film. This is actually Peter Cushing's big follow-up to Star Wars. This is the next movie he did right after that. It's a horror movie that has Nazi SS Deathless Warriors in it. John Carradine has a cameo in this movie. Both John Carradine and Peter Cushing were on the movie for 5 days. John Carradine got $5,000. Peter Cushing got, I think it's $25,000, a limo, and like half a dozen other things for doing it. This is one of the first movies of Brooke Adams. Brooke Adams made a lot of movies in the, I would say, the 80s. She was pretty popular, and I believe today she is married to Tony Shalhoub, Monk, from the TV series Monk. So there's your happy trivia. This movie starts on a very, very small boat out in, and I'll be honest, I don't know where the hell they were riding around. I think it was the Caribbean, but who knows? And you know that this was all shot on a small boat because the first thing you see is a guy building a house of cards while in a boat. if you know anything about building a house of cards, you can't build one on a boat. You need a very still surface. Like, are you kidding me? What is this? Why? Why is this going on? It has a very 70s feel. Almost everybody is wearing either bell-bottom, the jeans with the, is it called bell bottoms? Yeah, bell bottom
Yes. Yeah.
jeans. Or like Brooke Adams literally is never out of a bikini throughout the whole movie. Once in a while she throws like a little shirt on, and like this picture right now, the zombies sometimes feel her up. And they get big smiles on their face every time they feel her up. I was latched into that. Then there's a lot of big mustaches and people wearing inappropriate gym clothing. It really has this look. Okay, so they're out on this boat, and John Carradine is the sea captain. He's old man of the sea. The compass goes out, and they're lost at sea. So the captain does what any good captain would do. He throws the radio over the side of the boat. Apparently he had seen Jaws one too many times, which I don't think is possible, but he must have. There's one character in the movie that apparently they said, here's your character, you complain about everything. And he goes, got it. And that's all he does throughout the entire movie. He was just lining up to be a hot lunch. The score was apparently done on one of those little keyboards that you buy at JCPenney back in the day, and you would hit a little button and it'd play a little tick, 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 and you would hit one key and it would go doo, 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 doo. That, I believe, is exactly how they put together the electronic score for this film. Which they thought was a good follow-up to Peter Cushing coming out of Star Wars with that little John Williams symphonic score on his last movie. As I said, Brooke Adams is in a swimsuit in virtually every scene. That is probably the best production decision that was made on the film. The rest of it, I'm not sure I go along with. But the kind of like creepy dead hotel that they were in, apparently that was a creepy deserted hotel at that time. A couple of years later, some venture capitalists came in, stuck a bunch of money into it, and it's right now I think it's like $400-$500 a night to stay there. It's a pretty upscale joint. Now, what is once the boat crashes on this island and they find this old resort, really we stop having a story at that point. We just have Peter Cushing come out and he reveals a bunch of expository information. He's Marie the Explainer. He comes out there and just tells everybody what's going on. And what's going on is they got Nazi zombies, and it's a little bit of a problem. And basically every scene of horror in this movie is somebody in the foreground, either the victims are either in water or out of water. That's the entire variety you get. And then a Nazi zombie comes slowly out of the water behind them. The person in the foreground doesn't notice that a zombie is coming out of water, which if you've ever been near somebody that comes out of water, they make quite a bit of noise. It doesn't matter how stealthy they think they are. They make noise. But our idiots in the lead never seem to notice. And they come up from behind and they kill them. That's pretty well the movie. You can see the makeup effects in the slides that we show, which is basically they put some creepy zombie goggles on these guys, made them all pale and white as can be, and they put them in SS uniforms, and they said, "We got a movie. Let's go." They had some underwater shots that became too repetitive. You kept seeing them underwater, and really, I don't know that anything frightening happened underwater. They would just keep showing these zombies walking around at the bottom of the ocean there. I mean, literally, when you look at this movie, what they did is they took the motorists that have their car break down and go to the Gothic castle and say, "Hey, can we stay tonight?" And what they did is they put them on a boat instead, gave them an abandoned hotel to go to, and they have the zombie monsters with this Nazi death squad that's going around. Now they built up the way they talked about them, about how brutal these Nazi soldiers were, that they didn't even need weapons, and they kill everybody with their hands. But they seem to enjoy weapons quite a bit, as I remember through the movie. My biggest problem with the film is probably just the pacing. It seemed that it was very repetitive. The kills were very repetitive. I didn't feel that the movie was going anywhere. And when you get to what I guess is the shocking end that's supposed to throw you, I shrugged my shoulders for the most part. I was like, okay, the movie ended. I didn't really like this. A lot of people have told me how much they enjoy this film. I think Adam's about to tell me how much he enjoys this film, but I really didn't. I wasn't scared. I didn't think it wasn't a gory movie. And I guess if there would have been one scene of the zombie coming out of the water and killing somebody, I would say, oh, that's pretty cool. It was suspenseful as they got up behind them and did whatever they did. But they did it like 8 times. They went back to the well too often. I was like, oh, I bet he's going to come out of the water. Yeah, there he comes. And I know that, it's named Shockwaves. You got to have waves in there. And I'm like, well, it was just the same thing over and over. And I guess I was done with it. I found the complainer puss guy a little over the top. He didn't seem to be like a real person. It was like, you get to play a comic book character. And okay, fine. I thought they went to the well too often with this one. All right, Adam, I'm sure you're going to rip into me. What have you got to say?
No, I'm not going to rip into you. Like, this was a frequent watch growing up, video store rental in the 80s. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, watching it back then compared to now, like, if this was a first-time watch for you, I could definitely see how it is not a good film. But seeing it in the 80s and having that nostalgia factor, like, it's not your typical zombie film. There's not some gas that created the zombies. It's not a viral film. You have a Nazi scientist that is using a sunken battalion to recreate a Third Reich of the dead. So you're in between, like, World War II and the whole Star Wars stuff with the Russians. So this movie kind of hit at the right time if you were fortunate to see it then.
Okay. I guess it really didn't do anything for me. I don't know. One of the things is they didn't act like zombies at all, and they didn't act like the fast running zombies that we've gotten recently, I kept thinking, is there any reason they need to be dead? They were killing people just like soldiers would kill people if they didn't have weapons. So they did have a few weapons, and I'm kind of sitting there going, "Oh, why couldn't you just have zombie Nazis run around there? It probably would have worked the same."
And I don't know if I'd call them zombies. Like, technically they are because they drowned and died, but at the same time, they're also Nazi soldiers that drowned and died. So, kind of could go either way with that one.
I guess, too, what probably is not helpful is I'm watching this and I'm comparing it to, what was it, Dead Snow that came out?
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that movie. This isn't that movie. It doesn't have, I don't believe there's any comedy in it at all. I think this is played pretty darn straight right down the middle. What I will say is, for people that are fans of John Carradine or fans of Peter Cushing, it's probably an interesting view of them late in their careers, in both of their careers. I don't think it's particularly good work by either of the two actors. Peter Cushing's German accent, I was like, oh, really? That's what we're doing? Okay. They paid you money for this. All right. I think the difference between that German accent and Colonel Klink on Hogan's Heroes is probably pretty minuscule. But I understand that there could be people that like this, but I gotta say, I'm not one of them. I didn't hit it at the right time in my life.
Yeah.
So...
And you gotta think there's probably 40 plus years of other zombie stuff that we've seen since then too.
Yeah.
So like Adam was saying, if you saw this, if that was grabbed off the Blockbuster shelf in the 80s, I can definitely see that being a different experience than watching it for the first time after the huge library of zombie stuff that we have in our brains now.
Well, and I admit, I'm about zombied out. I watch a zombie movie. The only reason I watch this is a lot of people have recommended it to me over the years. And I'm like, okay, I'm finally going to sit down and watch this thing. But I have to admit, I'm giving it a D. It just wasn't for me. Now, for people that are watching it and go, oh, I'm never going to watch it. You might want to give it a chance. I see there's some value to the movie. It just... If you're zombied out, I wouldn't say this is one of those can't miss. I'm just not a fan of this thing. I will be watching another horror movie this week to try to clean the old palate out, because this didn't do it for me. But yeah, that is the movie Shockwaves. And okay, we're back to our four corners. We do have a lot that's going on our website. And as soon as I click the right buttons, we'll be able to look at it. There we go. At the website, boom, there we go. Adam, you've been busy. What is this we got in the top spot right now?
Yeah, today we dropped a review of Lucky, the new film written by actress Bria Grant and directed by Natasha Cremeni, I believe.
Okay.
It drops on Shudder Thursday.
Okay.
It's kind of a surreal thriller, has elements of Groundhog Day and Home Alone, but also has an underlying serious vibe to it.
All right. And Horror Realm Radio came back. They had Zombie Works on their show with Rich this week. I dropped the universally loved for Freaky I really enjoyed that movie. You can read more about it there. It's been reviewed on Dead On Movie Reviews, I think, 2 or 3 times already. Let's see. We got the horror thriller Held is coming out. These are releases. And then we have interviews from the Crypt with Laughing Ogre that you did. I thought you had Stylist right here. Here it is. Here's the reviews from the Crypt with Stylist.
Yeah, that dropped last week.
Yeah, I listened
And then
to that one.
we had interviewed Joe Gavargizian that made the Stylist a week or two ago.
Okay.
And that's out there on the site.
That's on Arrow Player as opposed to Shudder. So I was shocked to hear you talking about it there, Adam, because we know you're a Shudder file.
Yeah, I didn't even know Arrow had their own streaming service. I think right now you can get a 30-day free trial of Arrow Player. They have a lot of crossover with what Shudder has and Prime, but there's also some stuff out there that's exclusive to Arrow.
Fantastic. And Michael, you've got a website, The Dragon's Roost. What have you been working on?
Actually, speaking of things that dropped recently, our most recent release, Stitched Lips, an anthology, excuse me, of horror from silenced voices, was released today. Was edited by Ken McGregor, and all of the proceeds from this book go to the Southern Poverty Law Center. And last month, Moonlight Medicine Onset by Jen Hager, the new edition was released, and it's the first in a trilogy, and the remaining books will be out in the spring and summer.
Fantastic. And they can order it right at your website?
Order it right at the website. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. All the links are there on the website.
So I can get that put onto my Nook? Can I get it on the
You
old
can.
Nook? Oh,
right on the Nook.
See, what happens, I'll explain this to you because you're a young fella. When you get to be old, you really like that Nook because you can make the letters about this big. You can just make them gigantic. And that's perfect for me. I can sit there and go, oh, I can barely read this because I don't put on my glasses, but I feel better about myself.
I have the glasses on now. These are just for reading. And the way I found out that I needed readers is I'd been reading on my iPad forever, and then someone recommended something to me and let me borrow a paperback. And I was trying to read it in the bed, and it was like, crap, my arm's not long enough.
I had a similar experience with my digital watch because I don't know if you've seen a notification on a digital watch. It is approximately the same size as the type on a Bazooka Joe comic. It's like, what the heck is going on this thing? But yeah, a lot of fun. Okay. Fantastic. Well, I want to thank you, Michael. This has been a good debut.
Thank you. This
Adam,
was a lot of fun.
Thanks for sacrificing yourself, Adam, for 30 minutes on your movie.
That's what you do best, Tom.
You're fighting a good fight, right? You're out there taking it so we don't have to take it. So
yeah, somebody's too.
Yeah, somebody has to take the hit for the team. We all want to wish Mike to get well soon. We wish him all the best. Remember, you can check us out on Twitter. Is it Radio Other? Adam, help me out. Radio Other?
Yeah, I believe so.
And then Instagram is Otherworldly Culture. Twitch, we're Otherworldly Culture. Facebook, I think it's Otherworldly Culture Radio. Because we had to be a dummy and pick Otherworldly Culture, which a lot of people like that term. But, that's how we do things here. If you want to get a hold of me, I'm Tim at otherworldlyculture.com. Adam's Adam at otherworldlyculture.com. And I think we're going to have to figure out what we're going to do with Michael here. Maybe Dragon's Roost.
I like it.
We'll do
It's
something.
easy to remember.
We'll
The
do
branding
something.
there.
We will figure it out. All right, everybody, hang in there, pumpkin, until our next show. And remember, as Alfred Hitchcock once said, no terror in the bang, it's in the anticipation and the waiting. When you aim at horror, make sure you are dead on. See you next time. Otherworldlyculture.com. We played the creepy music. Ooh, ha, ha.